Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Prepared for Takeoff. I'm your host, Kushan, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, SSN 754.
Good morning, sir. How's everything on the left coast?
Hot.
Yeah, it's hot here too. It was burning up yesterday, and now Microsoft is burning up everybody's keyboards and pocketbooks. So,
They're not burning up mine.
well, I think as if nobody knows yet, Microsoft has set the release date, has set the pricing. The super mega extravaganza edition is going to be $120, where you get all the
I think
planes.
you're jumping the gun a little bit, aren't you? Like, let's
Well,
just...
no. Well, I'm setting things up here. Well, that it's $120, man. But if you have the Game Pass, you can pretty much play it for $1, right? So
So, all
that's
right.
where
So
Kushan.
let's go ahead and just get out of the way. Yes, Microsoft Flight Simulator, or Microsoft, is coming out August 18th, not 28th, August 18th. You know, we were actually really lucky that I had that all day stream last Sunday, because otherwise we would have recorded like usual on Sunday, and then we would
Uh-huh.
have been ambushed on Monday with, hey, here's a release date, and we would have been
Yep.
behind the news cycle again.
Yep.
Whereas this time we're at least with the news cycle.
Yeah. Well, a few days late, but
Well, a few days late, but we're at
yeah.
least, within the not 2 weeks after the announcement type.
Yes, yes. Yeah, it was quite a surprise. I was honestly expecting a Christmas time release or something like that, or maybe even slip into January. But hey, they've surprised us with August 18th. So, you know,
Well,
every indication is that the sim is running great. It's doing great. It's ready to go, and we'll
that's
see how it
debatable.
goes. Well,
It's okay. So I'm gonna lay this out now is that I think a Christmas release would have been better for this
uh-huh,
because alpha literally just ended. Beta is either started or is starting this week or something like that, and you
uh-huh.
can't tell me that 3 weeks is enough to beta test this product.
Well, maybe all the important stuff was done during the alpha testing, and
I
beta
mean,
is just to shine it. So
I don't know if I actually believe that. I think this is a money grab.
they did promise the PC was going to be out before the Xbox version, so this is probably what this has brought. So that promise has brought us that.
I don't have any problem with pre-orders for beta access or anything like that. What I
Yeah.
do have an issue with is if it's a knowingly paid beta and they're not announcing that this is a paid
Well,
beta.
but
That's
it's
where
how
I
people
mean
do business
a,
nowadays.
a, a, that doesn't matter. Like, it's scummy. The mainstream industry is scummy. Like, this
Well,
whole we're
it
gonna release
is.
half finished products and then call it
May
a full game and then we're gonna patch it is scummy.
It's how things work, though. I mean, it's just like,
No,
for
but that's not
instance,
how it should work, though.
well,
And I
no, it's
don't,
not
and
how it
I,
should work.
and I don't think that encouraging bad behavior is something that should be done. So,
Well,
I'm,
it's to get the initial money seed there to be able to do things further on. That's if you're a small time developer. We're talking about Microsoft here, who has billions of dollars,
yes.
on the table.
So it's a
So
money grab.
it's not. I don't know if it's a money. I don't know what it is. It's to get it out there before Christmas, I think, is what the push was. So
Yeah, but I mean, I even think like a late September, early October. I mean, the Xbox is what out November, October, something like
yeah,
that.
I th-
You could have
yeah.
pushed the release of this to October, early November, right before the Xbox release, and then you're still technically out before the Xbox, and that would have been more testing time.
Yeah, it could have been. You know, it's but it looks great. Let's talk about the sim here a little bit. It looks great. All the plane. There's going to be tons of planes. That I
Mm.
just can't wait to get my hands on.
That's the other issue is
Yeah.
what edition you're buying here.
Well, they've done this before with the Century of Flight. Was that 2004? They did that where they had a standard edition and a deluxe edition. They had more planes, so it's not like they haven't done this before.
No, no, it's not. It's
So
not, and it's no real different than like add-on aircraft or anything like that.
yeah, yeah.
But I mean, let's be clear. You're paying if you want everything, all the top airports that are all fully redone,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
that doesn't really surprise me. I had a feeling when they announced, "Oh, we're redoing all these airports and all that." I'm like, I knew immediately they were going to lock those behind some sort of higher end
Uh-huh.
edition, that they weren't going to include those in a standard. I didn't expect 3 levels of pricing, but
Yeah, that,
you
I
know,
was
I would
expecting
expect.
maybe two.
I
So,
was expecting 2, but
but hey, we'll see. I mean, if the sim pans out even remotely nice, I'm gonna get it. So, I think you will too. It was
I've already decided I'm getting this on Game Pass. I'm not putting money into this right now.
well
If it,
right now,
if
not
if
right now.
if
So,
it actually turns out halfway decent, I mean, I'm mixed feelings. I don't think companies like Orbex and PMDG would be all these other developers would be diving into this if flight model was crap and the monetization was
yeah,
crap from
yeah.
their end. I don't think that would be happening, which they obviously are. So, but I think there's going to be issues at release. I want a stable flight sim, and that, and like, I don't really have confidence that their default aircraft are going to be what I really want to fly. I mean, better than the
Well,
current crop of FSX P3D default aircraft? Yes. Do I think they're PMDG level or even like an Aerosoft or Captain Sim level? No, I don't think they're even close to that.
okay. Well, you gotta understand. When you buy P3D, do you fly the default planes at all? I
No,
mean, or you just jump straight to add-ons. The
I
add-ons aren't there yet, but they will be. Of course,
yeah,
PNG's jumped in. So,
which is why I have no problem on waiting for this.
okay.
Like,
So yeah. So you're saying you're gonna wait until some big names come into play,
yeah,
but
I
you're
mean,
not saying I'm never buying this.
if it turns out that I actually hate it with the standard edition, then yeah, I'm not going to buy
Oh,
it. And I'll
wow.
stick with P3D. But if it actually turns into, because I mean, I'll get it. I'll fly around the default aircraft just to kind of get a feel for the flight dynamics. But
Uh huh.
like I said, I don't expect those default aircraft to be, they're definitely not going to be study level. I don't even think they'll be study level light aircraft. So
I think.
I'm in no real hurry when Majestic and PMDG and even Aerosoft or whoever decides to jump on board with this. PMDG announces the 737, or I'm assuming that's the first one they're going to bring over would be the 737.
Yeah.
I mean, that's by far the most popular, I think,
And plus,
P3D
yeah.
airliner.
And plus, it isn't in the sim yet. So yeah.
So
That.
I think that that'll be what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
But I'll get in. I'll mess with the default aircraft with the standard edition, and then it's digital. There's no reason to pre-order unless you're gonna spring for the NCD special edition, physical edition, which really Microsoft 10 CDs. Who even has a CD or a DVD player?
I don't. I've never even planned
I
one.
mean,
So
I think they would have been much better off doing like a special like art book or something like that, and
yeah.
then putting it on like on a flash drive. But like
Yeah.
really, like they're gonna do 10 DVDs for this? Like that's
No.
ridiculous.
Well, what did I call that? I called that the European edition, didn't I? So.
No, I think you can probably buy it from like Microsoft or somebody here in the States. I mean, it's gonna
Uh,
be available some.
yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I'll buy it. I mean, I'm going to be a day one adopter because I did build a system that I recently, just this weekend, got running again, and I'm ready to go. I'm biting at the bit. I'm excited for it. So
Yeah.
I think one of the game breakers that'll be really fun will be you and I getting in multiplayer and flying around the PNW. I think that'll be a game breaker for you. That'll be something that'll be you'll just like, oh my god, I have this. That's when you'll buy it. So
It depends. I have to actually go look at the multiplayer a little bit because I'm
yeah,
all I think for private groups or
private groups. Yeah,
I really want to see if something like that sim or Pilot Edge or something like that is going to be compatible because frankly after the drunken pilot leaked video that we had this week, if that's the
yeah.
quality we can expect in open multiplayer, I'm out.
Well,
Like,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, and yeah, but you don't. I think that it's all toggable. You don't have to have it on.
no,
You
you
can just
don't.
have the AI ATC running around.
Which
So
that's its own issue right there.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
the ATC looks like it's a reskin menu of what we have in FSX, and it looks
yeah. That
absolutely. From what
is
I heard, it
that's
looks absolutely terrible. It sounds absolutely terrible.
yeah.
it's not even
The,
close to what you would consider actual ATC.
again, that could be a something later on for an add-on developer to develop real ATC, or something like that, where maybe Flight One would jump on something like that, with their experience with Ultimate Traffic. Uh,
Yeah,
so,
or even something like, because I was using Pro ATCX there for a while,
uh-huh,
um, but I mean, they're
yeah,
already compatible with FlightAware. It doesn't seem like it should have been that much effort to overhaul the ATC while you were doing the AI traffic.
you would think. Well,
You
we haven't
know,
actually gotten our hands on. We don't know how bad it is yet, but we have our suspicions.
yeah, I mean,
So,
we've seen videos of it and
yeah,
in a
we've seen
couple places,
videos.
and especially after that leaked video this week, which I'm
Yeah,
assuming was a recent alpha, doesn't look very good, or doesn't look and
no.
sound very good, like I
No,
said.
but the
So,
person in that video was trying to make the sim look as bad as possible, and maybe he didn't even have the graphics turned up all the way, who knows?
yeah, I mean, but that's not really the thing. I mean, you can't. It's not like there's probably like different levels of ATC.
Oh yeah, yeah,
The
who knows?
the ATC is the ATC. I mean, I don't think there's like a
Yeah,
here's the beginner level ATC and here's the pro level ATC.
yeah.
I mean, there
Well,
could be a toggle for that, but I highly doubt it.
the NDA is still on, so people really can't talk details yet. But
Yeah. I mean,
but our
that's
suspicions are
just
there. That is one thing that was kind of a kicker for me. That's the one bad thing I've seen in this whole thing so far is the ATC. I think it might need some room for improvement, but they've said later on they're going to be in this for the long haul. So maybe that's one of the things they'll touch on.
well that and A320s that stop in like 10 feet.
Well, yeah, who knows what the heck was going.
Yeah.
That was also sped up. That was also
Yeah,
not.
I went back and watched that though, and that's A320 still landed with like no flaps in like 10 feet, like no speed brake, nothing. So
Well, we shall test that out. We will leave that for a later episode. So we will test that and
yeah,
see if we can land an A320 at some place like Port Angeles or something. Some small airport.
so have you already pre-ordered and all that yet?
No, I haven't. That's probably coming within the next week, though. I guarantee you. I will be pre-ordering and be ready to go because my new system seems to be stable and
For the
it's
moment.
for the moment, yeah, for the moment. And for those who don't know, I built a system in March. It lasted about what 6 months, 5 months, and
It burnt out like what 3-4 weeks ago now.
yeah, about a month ago it burnt out and crashed the motherboard and the chip. And so I had to do a motherboard and chip swap, and I've kind of upgraded to a very good motherboard, and upgraded to the next class of AMD 3700X, and got that installed and working this weekend, and it's running fine. I'm just enjoying it, and it's a noticeable speed difference. I actually got the RAM to run at advertised speed now, so I'm a happy camper. So.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I really want to build a new PC right now,
Uh,
just for the sake of building a new PC.
It's
Like
fun, I'm telling you.
I've been watching like a lot of like tech videos and PC build videos on YouTube the
Uh-huh.
last week or two, and it's really got me like not so much that I need an upgrade. I mean, my 7700K isn't terrible.
Yeah.
Obviously, the core counts on AMD right now are just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like I just want to like build a new PC just to like actually like go through the steps of building a new PC. Um,
Mhm.
but I priced one out on PC Parts Picker the other day, which is really close to what you actually had and what you
Uh-huh.
posted in my Discord yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think I have everything picked out roughly what I'm gonna get. I think I'm gonna go with the 3950X AMD
Nice.
for mine. I'm gonna go with the 16 core processor.
Uh-huh.
The only real next step above that is the Threadripper, and I just can't justify the 24
No.
core or 32
No.
core Threadripper.
You
Not
were
to
talking.
not to mention that the cost of that is literally like the price of like my PC budget.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the chip itself and the motherboard would be crazy expensive.
Well, just like the Threadripper itself is like $2,000. I mean, it's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
So the 3950X, which is still not cheap, but I think 16 cores, I think I can justify that with the video editing I do and, the streaming and all that, so, and commands, so I definitely think I can get away with the 16 cores, and, could probably even get away with, like, the 12 cores, but if you're going to do 12, you might as well do 16.
Yeah, this 3700X, 8 cores, 16 threads, so...
Yeah. Gonna wait till the fall, at least, and wait till NVIDIA gets their new cards out, because there's talk NVIDIA's new cards are going to use a new power pin, or there's rumors that they're going to use a new power pin on their new ones. I heard of an article that came out the other day, and everybody picked it up, and then supposedly the original translation from Chinese or whatever basically said at the bottom that the whole article had actually been fabricated. I don't know for sure. I didn't go read the original article. I just know everybody seemed to pick up on it. Yeah. That, and there has been rumors for a while now that NVIDIA was going to be changing the power pins. Mainly they were going, from what I've heard, it's mainly they were going to go to like a higher gauge wire so they could get more power to the card. Like right now the wires carry like 350 watts or whatever it is. Supposedly the new ones that they've been working on are going to carry like 600 plus. That's more power for the 3000 cards. At the very least, I'm going to wait till fall. I'd really like to wait until early next year to do a PC upgrade.
Well, you have other games coming that you want to play too, so
yeah. August is already a really expensive and busy month as far as games coming out for me, so that was completely separate of Flight Simulator. I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn is out August 7th. Obviously, Flight Sim is out on the 18th. The 28th is Wasteland 3 is out, along with a game called Windward, which is kind of a survival, exploration, adventure game. And then September 1st is Crusader Kings 3. So it's like August and early September were already super busy. The good thing, though, is that I currently have P3D uninstalled because I haven't really got around to doing my reformat and reinstall of the system because P3D was giving me all those issues. That's one of those episodes that I'm just going to throw away. That, just so everyone knows, we recorded a bunch of episodes the last couple months, but I just haven't really been in the editing mode. This episode is actually going to go live. I've promised myself that, but I just really haven't been in the editing mood lately, so we have like 3 or 4 episodes that since May that we've done that I'm gonna throw out, and we're gonna call this episode 13, and then we'll be past the unlucky 13 and we can get back to normal programming. But
it was summertime.
As far as going back to PC upgrades, I'm gonna try and hold off at least until the fall. I'm really thinking about doing soft tube liquid cooling on this one.
You've been talking about that for quite a while.
Yeah, I've used all-in-ones for, maybe the last 3 or 4 PC builds I did, and then before that I had those really monster, Noctua heat sinks. But I think just for the sake of doing something different and kind of stretching my legs a little bit and trying to learn something, I'm really thinking about doing water cooling on this one, like actual custom water cooling. I wouldn't do like hard tube or anything like that. I would just do soft tube connections and all that because I don't really have the tools to cut, copper pipe or anything like that. So that and the fitting would just be a lot more difficult. You get, I think, a little bit more flexibility with soft tube.
Yeah. So, it's building a PC takes a lot of time and effort, just the research in it. I mean, we have sites like PC Part Picker and things like that, but it's a lot of research into making sure you buy the right things. So.
Yeah, I think I got all the core pieces down. The only real piece that I'm not sure of is my case right now, and what I'm going to do for cooling. But I think once I get those 2 figured out, I'll be good. And then, even if AMD comes out with new chips next year, I'll still be pretty good. Even if I think they promised support for the current socket until like 2021, 2022 time frame. So I'm kind of coming in on the middle of a chipset generation or a socket generation, which is fine. And then, assuming a 4 to 5 year upgrade cycle, that would put me into about the middle of the next socket generation. So.
Very cool. Yeah.
And we'll see.
I mean, the future's bright with the the AMD stuff. I mean, they're just going crazy with how their chips are right now. So
I kind of feel like at this point they're doing a NVIDIA where they're blanketing every single like possible spec in the market, and they're almost like competing with themselves in a lot of places. And there's a couple places where it's like, just like, why are you doing this? Like, this shouldn't even be a chip.
Yeah, it's kind of like the 3600 and the 3700. You know, for $50 more, you just go up to 3700 off the 3600. So
yeah,
and get more performance. You know, I've noticed my computer's snappier and faster, and
because that's what you had before. You went with the 3600 originally in your original build, right?
Yeah, and now I'm on the 3700X, and I've noticed a bit of performance. You know, I had Bart's big Northern Fury's scenario up last night, and it was running at fine at real-time speed. So,
because you loaded up what, the longest battle?
Yeah, the big one where you're on both sides of the ocean, and it was just insane amount of units.
The massive month-long monster that everybody was trying to get me to play in real time.
Yeah, you know what's going to be good when he says in the pre-briefing, you do not want to play this, or something like that. It's a huge scenario, so, but it is a huge scenario, hundreds and thousands of units.
So did you try to do Time Excel in that scenario?
No, I did not, because remember I had it crash. And
you got to crash.
I had it crash, and I think it was because I hadn't had command fully updated yet, which I do now, and I want to try it again after we get off the stream here. So.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see if that's going to let you do Time Excel.
Yeah.
And how much Time Excel that'll let you do.
Yeah, we'll see before it starts screaming. Yeah.
Because that's a massive scenario. I mean, like you said, there's hundreds of units. It's a month-long scenario.
Yeah. It looks like it deals with my forte, which is going to be anti-submarine warfare. So because you're doing convoys across the ocean there. So
yeah. So anyways, back to Microsoft Flight Sim. I just looked up on their July 16th update, and on July 23rd we'll begin sending out invitations for closed beta participation, which means closed beta has not started yet.
Well,
which means
it has. They have
for alpha testers. They probably already have. It depends on who you ask. I haven't heard anything that confirms or not whether alpha is officially ended and whether beta has started. So I mean, it's.
I think the alpha testers who are in there are already in the beta, but the people that they're going to invite.
Well, yeah. If you're an alpha tester, you'll automatically get beta access.
Yeah.
But whether the beta has actually been released or not, I don't think so.
Oh, I don't know.
Which goes back to my original point of and I know we're getting like all over the place and we're rambling, but that's what we do here.
That's what we do, yes.
So, which goes back to my original point of, hey, we're going to actually try and test this in 3 weeks. Yeah.
I mean,
because alphas are tech alphas. I mean, that's what alphas are for. They're to prove the underlying tech. Betas are where you do most of your bug fix, and get alphas are where you get all your features in and make sure the underlying mechanics are good. Beta is where you bug fix. And 3 weeks and 3 weeks of bug fixing just does not feel like enough to me.
90% of what we've seen has looked amazing, though, has it not?
Okay, you're getting hung up on the graphics.
I'm not. No,
this sim, from a visual perspective, you can't argue that this thing looks just absolutely beautiful. Where you can argue is that maybe the underlying mechanics aren't maybe as bug-free as they want you to believe.
Did you not have your jaw drop to the ground when you saw the ground handling thing? Did you not?
You're getting it mixed up with game features.
That is game features. That's something that we have not seen in a sim before that you should be excited about. That other than having it in an add-on, this is coming out as standard. This is going to be included with the install. I'd be excited about that. So,
I mean, I'm actually looking forward more to slope runways, to be honest. Mm-hmm. As a P3D, primary user, only user because I don't have X-Plane.
Yeah.
It'll be really nice to actually have sloped runways and see what all the talk is about with the sloped runway.
Yeah, that what's that airport in France that's on the cliff? That'll be fun. So, Courchevel is that the name of it? So, yeah, and doing multiplayer in Courchevel. I mean, what that's something that's a dream in P3D. That'll be fun. So,
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the first thing I'm gonna do is load up like a Cessna or whatever, and I'm gonna fly and actually see if I can see my house,
that too.
or at least see where my house is. I
Yeah,
doubt it'll be like the actual model of like my house, but I want to at least fly to my street and see my
yeah,
house.
yeah. That'll be the first thing I do too. I think 90% of the people who buy the sim, once they figure out, hey, that's Bing Maps down there, that's what they'll do. Go see the house that they live
So,
in.
what do you think about the hardware support? Because the last I heard, anyway, so this could have changed, and this can change between now and when the release is on the 18th. But I had heard that like Track IR wasn't working yet.
Oh, I haven't heard anything about Track IR. I know that they're working on the VR thing. I heard of that, but that's not going to be available at the release. That's going to be one of the things that's down the road. But hardware-wise, the only thing I've heard really that is they're going to have profiles for most things ready to go from launch. So things like the honeycomb and the Logitech yokes, they'll have profiles set up and ready to go.
So I was just looking on their pre-order page, and it says they're
Uh,
partnered with Aerosoft, Carenado, JustFlight, and SimMarket for pre-sales or pre-orders. It's really
nice.
interesting that Carenado is actually selling Microsoft Flight Sim on their website, or
Well,
or at least
if
that's
you
what I'm reading from this.
if you think about it, their planes are pretty much going to be I mean, though they are the same level as probably a default plane is going to be in the new Microsoft Flight Sim.
Yeah,
So,
I actually wonder if that's where if something like the Carenado is actually who developed their aircraft.
oh well, who knows? Well, maybe we'll get an answer on that after the NDA's lifted, and we can
Yeah.
find out a whole bunch of stuff. So,
I mean, because
but yeah,
I would actually be all right with that as like a default aircraft. I mean, the Carenados definitely aren't like system complex.
no, no,
I
they're
mean,
not. They're not. But they
but
look pretty.
but they
They
look
look
pretty,
pretty. Yeah.
and I mean that would be a okay holdover at least until PMDG gets up to speed. I'd like to say that we're going to see the PMDG this year. I mean they're being really tight-lipped about it, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would really like to hope that we're going to see the PMDG this year, but it's also PMDG, so it could be like 2 years before we actually see anything.
Yeah. 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 Who knows? I mean,
I mean,
it's. I think we will see a rush of people trying to get on the storefront. So that's another thing we haven't even talked about yet is the storefront that they're going to have that is going to open up a whole different audience to add-ons through the Xbox.
which why this was a shock to anybody is beyond me. I mean,
No, yeah, and I think it's a good thing though because everything will be a one click and it's installed. I mean that in itself, and you'll be able to save it. It'll be in the cloud. You just click it, you buy it, and click it, and boom, it's in.
I mean, the advantage of having everything tied to Microsoft is one things would get downloaded
But
automatically,
yeah,
and it's tied to your account. So, I mean, who's to say that Sim Market's always going to be around? Sim Market goes down
yeah,
right now, and I'm completely screwed.
yeah, me too.
I mean,
If I had to stick to P3D, yes, I would be screwed.
I
So
mean, if Sim Market went down, tomorrow, and I would be screwed. I mean, I have so much bought through Sim Market, it's not even funny.
yeah, my list is huge. It's I can't even show the list in public. So or else I would get strung up. So, but yeah.
the so so the admiral doesn't know about all the purchases on Sim
No, no,
Market.
no. Sim Market is a very close held secret. It's a one of those national treasures. The Book of Secrets. That's where the bookmark is in there. It's just in the Book of Secrets. So, but Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think the store is a good idea,
So do you
honestly.
think they're going to allow like third-party installers still, or do you think it's
I
all going
think
to be
well,
through the store?
I think they will. Yeah, I think they said where you'll be able to use the store and also be able to have it outside. So that means third party. So
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll see how it shakes out. I think it'll be better to use the store, though. I bet you there's some add-ons that won't go to the store that will become viewed as being necessary that everybody has. That will kind of like maybe, hey, maybe FSU IPC won't be on the store or something like that. You know, where everybody seems to need to want it. So, but the Windows Store as a whole is complete trash. We all know this. Everybody knows this. Hopefully they do this a little differently.
Well, that and I've
Uh,
had games on Windows before through the Windows Store, and which is
uh-huh.
really going to make me want to, when I order it from somebody that's not Microsoft, because I've used their game install folders for, I think it was Outer Worlds and the Halo collection,
uh,
and it
yeah,
basically installs it into a folder that you can't access.
that's true. It
You know,
does,
it's
and
like it's a locked file that basically is, one, it's buried, and two, it's basically, even with admin rights, it doesn't let you have access to it.
you can't actually you can't move it. I'm hoping that at least and I've noticed this with lately that you've been able to move the install to different drives. Before it had to be on the system drive, which was where Windows sat. That's not where my big drive is. I would prefer to have it on one of my bigger drives, simply because I'm going to be adding things to
Yes,
it.
I noticed that
It'll
when I
get
installed Halo and Outer Worlds, was
yeah,
that I
yeah,
could install it to whatever drive I wanted, but it
yeah,
was still basically a locked file that I couldn't, or a
yeah,
locked folder that I couldn't
yeah,
access. It was like an alpha. It was the typical alphanumeric, folder name, but then you clicked
yeah.
on it and basically denied access even with admin rights. It
Well,
just
I'm
refused
hoping
to
that
let me have access to the folder.
the developers realize and Microsoft realizes that sometimes as the tinkerers like to go mess with the config files and things like that.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I'm hoping that
so
those config files,
yeah,
which is another reason why I will probably, who's to say that if you pre-order it from Microsoft, or pre-order not from Microsoft but one of the partners,
uh-huh,
that it's not going to do the same thing
yeah,
because of integration or whatever. But I'm willing to experiment a little with that.
yeah. Or if you buy the physical edition, is it going to install as a locked file or something like
Yeah.
that? So that would be something new that I've never seen before. The physical edition actually coming out as a locked file. So
We
yeah.
shall see, but
I mean, a lot's going to be answered when the NDA comes up. So the curtain's lifted, and I will have a million questions for the guys in the Flight Sim Discord. So
yeah, I wonder if if that NDA is going to get lifted sooner or later now
um,
after
I bet you it doesn't probably till about a week until when they start ramping up the press and getting the hype
I mean,
going.
see that, and that's the thing with that confuses me about the 3 weeks of beta. Like, I could see doing like a month long or 2 month long beta, and then having like the last month of like, all right, guys, beta testers, you are free to do whatever you want. You guys can
Yeah,
post pictures, you can post video,
and that'll be
go
part of the hype.
go
So
go do it and build the hype. But
yeah,
like right now, like there's no time for that.
well, I mean,
I mean,
there's already
one
a
week
lot of
one
hype.
week may
So
just does not feel like enough to build. I mean, granted, there's already a lot of hype surrounding it anyway, but
yeah,
it just doesn't. I don't know. It just
I
feels.
mean,
I can't get over the feeling that this just feels rushed.
it may.
That it should have been 6 weeks, and
Well,
they cut it out to three
well,
weeks.
the only reason it feels rushed is we were all expecting a Thanksgiving release, and here we get in August. That got my butt moving on my computer. I tell you that because I wanted to have it up and running before Micro the Sin came out.
I mean,
So
it,
I was totally expecting Thanksgiving, but here we are in August and ready to go. So
in all honesty, I'm actually surprised you're still alive to record the show.
you know what? When that day I built rebuild everything. I was up at 5 a.m. tearing things apart, and that was an all-day process. But
Only
yeah,
5 a.m.? I mean, you messaged me the other day when it was midnight my time and it was 2 a.m. your time.
yeah. Well, submarine hours, so bubbleheads will stay up at all crazy hours. But you know how it works.
I'm surprised the Admiral didn't have you court-martialed after you said you were going to rebuild your PC now rather than in another 3 or 4 months.
Well, she knew it was coming. She just didn't know when. And I was like, well, honey, there's a sale, which there really wasn't. But I got to get it now. So here we go. So
There was a sale, but there really wasn't.
well, I actually got a bundle price from Micro Center on it. So I did save a little bit of money, but it could have been a lot worse.
You're so lucky you still have Micro Center.
It's right down the street. It's like 5 miles from my house, so I'm there quite often. It's a neat store. It's kind of like what Best Buy used to be on steroids.
You see, we have Fry's, but Fry's is like an hour drive away from me, and to be honest, the last time I was in Fry's, I wasn't super impressed.
Yeah, well, Micro Center is nothing but computers and parts and everything. So they do, and they even have classes, I think, where they show you how to build computers and things. So.
Yeah.
But right now, everything's kind of messed up because of Corona, and I don't know how that's working because they make everybody walk 5 paces from everybody else, and the salespeople, they can't get close to you anymore. It's kind of weird. Yeah. I hate Corona. I hate 2020.
With the way things are going here in Washington, it wouldn't surprise me if we went back into lockdown in another week or so.
You know, the governor. I think the governor here said not until Labor Day are they opening things back up. So
yeah.
Whatever.
There is talk that we probably are going to start, or at least there's some talk that if the numbers keep rising, which they are, that we'll probably go back into lockdown. So that wouldn't surprise me if But I've already kind of adopted hey, I'm going to buy everything online anyway. So
yeah. It hasn't really affected me other than having to go into public places, which I don't a whole lot. So
requires me to leave my house.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
I don't leave my house too much.
We don't eat out and go into restaurants. We just go through the drive-through or have it delivered. So
yeah, I went out Friday and had lunch with some old coworkers of mine, and it was the first time I'd been out and actually we didn't actually sit in this, and we just went to like Jersey Mike's, and we didn't actually sit in the store because they wouldn't let us, but we ordered our food inside, and then we went and sat at some tables outside. But that was like the first time I'd actually been out in a public place in like a month and a half. Like, I just haven't been out at all. I just...
Yeah. Well, you did go outside and blow up the street, so you did that on July 4th. So.
I didn't blow up the street. Although... I set off a lot of fireworks.
Yes, you did. I saw the picture you posted where it looked like you had your own store in your garage, and
not in my garage, in my driveway. Thank you very much.
Well, you took it out of the garage.
No, well, yeah. Okay, I'll give you that. Yeah, it was definitely a good 4th of July, that's for sure.
And we have a lot to look forward to in the next few weeks. So
yeah, it's I am really curious to get my hands on this. So
I am too. I mean, is it going to be the next coming of Aviator Jesus, or is it going to be a flop?
Aviator Jesus.
What are we going to see? Because I haven't not had access to the beta or the alpha. I'm just going to be a regular. I don't want to ruin my excuse is I don't want to ruin launch day. And
so are you going to tell me that if on Tuesday when beta acts, what is it, Tuesday, right? So you're going to tell me, I'm sorry, Thursday. So you're going to tell me that on Thursday, if your Microsoft email doesn't have, has a beta invite, that you're going to ignore it?
Possibly. I mean, honestly, at this point, why? I mean, it's not anything where I can see everything I want off videos and stuff that they post on the website. I can get answers most of the time from the guys in the Discord. So yeah, I don't think I would. I mean, it's just 3 weeks away now. So
no, we're about a month away as of yesterday.
About a month.
Yeah, we're a month away. See, I think I actually, if I got a beta invite this week, or sometime between now and release, I think I probably would install it.
Yeah.
Because I think it would actually answer a lot of my questions that I'm hoping the Game Pass, getting the Game Pass version would answer.
Yeah.
Of
Uh,
what exactly what I mean. Obviously I couldn't go around saying what that is, but it would answer some of my own questions as to whether
is it the real deal, or is it all smoke and mirrors?
yeah.
So.
And I really hope that your ID watermarks that are appearing over every single screenshot, I really hope
Yeah.
that is going to be removed.
Oh, I'm sure it will. Absolutely, it will. I mean, it messes up the shot, and they know that. So.
Yeah,
Actually,
I
I'll
really
I'll,
hope. Go ahead.
I'll go ahead and I'll ask that question now in the Discord. I'm there, so.
Or I mean, well, I mean, I guess you could just take a screenshot with something that isn't in
Yeah.
Flight Simulator. You could probably take that screenshot with like Bandicam or whatever screenshot program you use,
Sure.
and so. But yeah, lots to look forward to. I mean, I know I'm kind of pessimistic, but I just don't feel the testing time's going to be enough. But other than that, I mean, you can't deny that the sim looks beautiful.
Oh, it does.
From a
Yeah,
from a
it's
graphics
gorgeous.
perspective, I mean, and what we've heard about the flight model, I mean, there really isn't anything close. So I will eagerly anticipate, and you can bet that as soon as I've had a chance to try out the standard edition, if it holds up, then as soon as we get a quote unquote real plane for it, I mean, let's be honest, I'm gonna jump in and buy that $120 edition as much as it's gonna pain me to do so.
Yeah.
So, one other question before we wrap up here.
Okay.
Do you think that Microsoft is going to get into the add-on game, or do you think that they are going to leave that to third parties?
I believe that well, Microsoft will be the publisher, but I think Asobo probably has designs on some things. Yeah. I wouldn't see why not. Who knows what? I mean, the only thing they could really add is more airports. So maybe we'll see like airport packs or something like that. Um, yeah, or and also the add-on. The one thing they have announced is that map thing that they alluded to a few weeks ago with the weather announcement. Was it? I mean, or
with the nav blue.
Yeah, the nav blue thing. There's going to be like a map add-on similar to what Navigraph has.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that'll be considered an add-on from Microsoft. So yeah, I could see them maybe doing airport packs or something like that, where they would bring out super detailed airports for stuff that's already.
Do you think that their add-on packs are going to be similar to what we've seen on the built-out airports, or do you think they would do something like interiors and stuff like that we're probably expecting on something like the flight beams and the Dr. Zawicki's and all that when hopefully they start releasing stuff?
Well, who knows? We'll see on that. I think it'll be the handcrafted airports that they've been promoting. Was it 30 or 40 of them? So maybe they'll do like a pack of 10 for different regions. Hey, here's your Japan pack, or here's the England pack, or something like that.
So one thing I really want to see is I want to see some sort of add-on manager. Like if I download an airport for Seattle from Microsoft, and Dr. Zawicki releases, Seattle City X, Flight Sim 2020, I want to be able to toggle between those two.
Well, that could be. You mean like just like have it quick uninstall and a quick reinstall of the,
or just like a checkbox of like I click this and this one is active and it's looking for the assets for in this folder, and I uncheck this one and I check this one and it's looking for the Seattle assets in this folder.
Yeah, I think that's what the store will do.
I mean, because I've seen that with like Nexus Mod Manager. I mean, that allows you to have multiple mods and stuff that do the same thing installed, and there'll be conflicts if you have both of them checked. But you can also, in a lot of cases, just uncheck one and check another one and swap between, two add-ons that do similar things. For example, overhaul a town. You can use a town overhaul for, in Skyrim, for this one, and then just go in and uncheck something and check another one, and it'll basically give you a different town overhaul mod for the same town.
Okay, yeah.
So I would like something like that, because then you don't have to really worry about install orders and stuff like that anymore.
Yep.
You could just install everything,
I can see that. I think it'll be something where, yeah, it'll be on your, it'll be on the stuff you bought page, and you can just install it and boom.
The
And
other thing that
it,
worries me... Sorry, go ahead.
it'll take care of conflicts too. Say if something doesn't want to drive to something else, and it'll know it, and it'll tell you about it. What do you want to do? So
The other thing that worries me about with these store models is auto update. Because I've seen auto update break so many mods and add-ons over the years. One last thing, speaking of announcements, did you see Orbex is now on board as a partner?
yes, I did, and that's exciting. So maybe they're going to do the airport packs, or maybe that's what it is. That's a good observation there. I think maybe Orbix is going to be doing the detailed airports, or maybe that's who's doing them in the first place. Who knows? So,
Yeah. Well, I don't think they've had anything to do with it now because they just announced the partnership. I assume that would have been announced sooner if they were a partner.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I hear that.
And the other thing is that I saw on the FS to Crew Facebook page that they have an announcement coming sometime this week regarding Flight Sim 2020. But they basically said that it would probably be a little bit before third-party aircraft started to get released. But that's all they really said. So I'm assuming if they're saying that means that they at least have plans for 2020. Anyways, that's enough of our rambling for the day. Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we will catch you guys next time.
Have a good day, folks.